real quick, I'm Jeremy Winter, and just wanted to say welcome to Ignite 2017. We're on day 2. We rolled out a lot of stuff in the keynotes yesterday, and so today I'm going to do a little deeper dive. We're going to cover some of the same stuff you saw inside the keynotes, centered around Azure and Azure Management and Azure Security. We launched a lot. Who was in Scott's? Who saw Scott's? Scott Guthrie's. Yeah? Okay, that whole first section. PowerShell, the analytics, the security that came into it, the update patch. I'm going to cover some of those as well, but we're going to go into a little bit more depth on those. Who was in Jason's Andrews? Who saw Jason's? Okay, so I'll cover migration and some others. I'm just kind of checking to see what we've got for content and where we're headed. The other thing I'll say is with Ignite, what's really important, we have 25 sessions. So I'm going to go cover the entire landscape of what's going on with security and management for Azure. We have 25 other sessions that you should dive into if you want to get in with my teams. And you'll really be able to get a view of what's going on inside that. Okay, when you think about me, my role inside the company, I've been in the company for quite a while. I have the opportunity to work with many different teams. I'm on point for the overall product strategy for security and management as we bring it into Azure. But within that are hundreds of members on my teams that get to go work with you. And so we're going to have lots of active conversation in those sessions. We'll also go through and have quite a bit of discussions with you in specific hands-on conversations as well. So please lean in with the teams on that. As I said, I've been inside Microsoft for a while. I started out as a developer. How many developers are in the room? Okay? Started out as a developer writing code, but I also ran my own systems, and that was something very unique as I started to think about how I ran the systems. And later on, I had an opportunity to then move and be the director of some of the work inside MSN. Hotmail, for example, Messenger, Live ID, Passport, those are all elements I ran as the director of operations. So pretty worldwide services, millions, hundreds of millions of customers. How many ops crews, how many ops guys and gals do we have in the room? Okay? And how about that central IT role, just looking across all of the IT space? How many folks do we have there? Okay, good. So it really looks like we've got more of a management and security. Oh, how about the security crews? Folks in the security side. Okay, so it really looks like the way I'm just thinking about it is we've got quite a few of the, handful of developers, pretty heavy on the management side, and then we've got a few on the security pieces that we'll walk through inside. And so while I bring this, as we think about those discussions, I'm going to walk through how the strategy inside how we built this out, but I'm also going to then tailor those conversations in the demos. Everyone wants to see some demos? Yeah? You just want to sit here and listen to me talk the whole time? Or through slides. Here's a thumbs up over here. So we'll make sure I've got some slides. I'm going to put some pretty demo-heavy conversations into it, and we'll see how we go. Sound good? All right. So, the digital transformation, you heard us talk a lot about this digital transformation, Microsoft and the digital transformation, whether it's from cars to the HoloLens to how we're thinking about changing the way the cloud and computing infrastructure. And this digital transformation is driving a ton of change for all of you. You saw me walking around having the conversation. Everyone's in a different space. Every one of us is in a different space of how we're thinking about moving to the cloud. Whether I'm just starting to go to the cloud, my company just signed or made a decision, we're moving to Azure, I'm sitting with a ton of stuff on premises or in AWS, we're all in different states. And that's just part of the state of where as the industry shifts, where we're headed. But this digital transformation is also having a pretty big impact to just you and your roles, you and your company, even how we do work day to day. And so just thinking about even that software revolution that's starting to happen as companies start to go and look at how they become software businesses. Software is everywhere at this point. It really is changing the way we think about our business. It's changing the way we think about even as our data centers and our infrastructure move. So now all of a sudden as we see, I need a business that's moving faster and a business that's moving to the cloud so they have that level of agility and velocity. It's putting a lot of pressure on us in this room. It's putting a lot of pressure as we start to think about the sprawl of our landscape. Now I'm having to manage an on-site environment. What do I need to do for my new data centers as I'm running inside, and how do I modernize that approach? And so this digital transformation while it's driving change, is a good thing. Every once in a while, we have an opportunity to have a huge shift. And this is one of those times. I can remember running on when we were doing the environments inside Hotmail. Wow. It was in the 2000s all the way up to 2008, 2007, 2008. And the innovation was really being done inside a few core companies in these large environments. And we had a lot of different tool sets that were really siloed, and really could we build our own elements? And now the innovation that's there, just like the compute power that we can use in the cloud to go do things like analytics and bring all this information in and start to really make good machine learning and artificial intelligence that helps us make decisions faster, this just never existed. And so it's just this really exciting time for us to use this technology and this jump to go for it. But it also is having a change in our roles. Organizations no longer, as we think about these digital changes, we are working together. It's a shared solution. It's about teams working together. And so you'll see the shift over here on the right side when we start to talk about the developer and the operations and this notion I call the custodian, where you start to see the central IT. And so we really introduce these three roles that have to work together. They're all part in the same. You can't really think about them without the three. Whether you're sitting on the security side, wanting to make sure that you've got the right visibility and the right compliances, if we said, on the cloud, or you're the operations side that supports these systems, whether you've had a chance to instrument them and understand what's going on or not. It all is really about how you work together and get that velocity. And so everyone's in different phases of this. Some people will say, hey, we're heavily in the DevOps world, and I've got a CI/CD platform, and we're really moving that all forward. That's awesome. I mean, that's great. And we want you to keep going that direction. You're out ahead of where we see a majority of the customer. And so our goal, and it's okay. This is going to take time over the next 5 years to go unfold this. But as I set out here for you and go, where are we headed? I really think as you look at the technology we're building, this is one of those shifts that are occurring. Now, in a year or two, we may have to make the changes to the core of the conversation as we learn more. I mean, heck, when we first started some of the incubations, who's a part of the OMS? Who's been using OMS at all? Okay, so those hands that just came up on the OMS, we started this very early incubation that said it's time to just take management to the cloud. Let's just have it from the cloud 100%, and we've been building that over the last couple of years. Innovations is multiple times. It was a bet, but it changes, and it has to evolve quickly with you and the rest of the industry. And so do you as you think about how that digital transformation sets up. It's kind of core to the overall discussion of where you're headed. And so this is what's one of those key pieces as I sit down and think just where can you go? There's technology, and we're all here to think about technology, but also let's just think about how our teams are going to have to line up. It's about velocity, and it's about making sure we've got the partnership there. On the ops side, since there's quite a few on the ops piece, I'll also say for your operations piece, you're going to become more and more software-based. You're going to start to think about how that software and how you need to get more upstream with your development teams, and or how you're going to need to be more software-based as we start to bring more scripting, more programmatic languages in, and the industry's going down that path. So you're seeing us also have this switch between how do we ensure we've got a great user experience, but also how do we make sure we've got the programmatic access for it. Okay, so then built-in security and management in Azure. This is the core of what we're doing. That's what as we think about management and security. Our view and our bet is that management and security is platform. Platform is security and management. We don't think you should have to go look at other cloud, go look at clouds or look at the cloud infrastructure and then bring all the older tooling with it. We don't want you to have to go out and go look for bringing in a whole bunch of other systems to then be able to do something as simple as a patch or something where I need to understand what's changed in the environment. We feel as you, the enterprises, really start to go move and bet big with the cloud, you're going to expect this natively. We probably should have expected it for the last decade. So we're really putting this in to differentiate and focus on the cloud built in. And so I'll walk you through some of the work we're doing, but this is core. And so when you think about full stack cloud management and security is such a huge term. Every one of us has a different piece. Am I dealing with network management? Am I dealing with how I handle my ports? Am I dealing with what I'm going to do from how I think about monitoring? And so what we do is we think about this as here's the center of the full stack. And the key is that this is an opportunity to break down the silos of the tooling. Right? I've built tools that were really focused in each one of these silos. You could not get network data if you were on the IT side, on the ops side, unless you were either best friends with the network crew or you had access to the Cisco tools yourself. And the same thing for how you were on the security front. I have an event. I see some change that happened in here, or there's a new process, but how do I actually go over and get access to that security data to help? And so now management and security is everybody's problem, in my opinion. It's everyone's focus. It's just isolated into one team now. And so we've really brought these two together. And so when you start at like the 3 o'clock spot here where protect is, we really brought in the kind of center of making sure that you're protecting your environment. Now this is how do we back up? How do we do site? How do I have the resiliency across? And so we really focused at those levels. Now, site recovery also helps you start toward the disaster recovery, also becomes technology you can use to migrate. Monitoring gives you that view end to end, and you'll see me talk a little bit more about this, but it really, is bringing all that content and all that visibility across the entire spectrum. Configuration, really helping you start to understand what the configuration is inside the environment and how you can think about your configuration and automate your configuration, but even more how you script against it. And then at the 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock time frame at the top of this wheel, we talk about govern and secure. So for the past 2 years, our team has really been in the bottom half of this. Now we're having really heavy up into the govern and secure. So you've really come in and see us pushing in this space. It's where a lot of the focus is right now in our core messaging that you're going to see, and a lot of the keynotes we're talking about this. You're going to see me talk about it right now in this session. And that's because we really feel we've got a good baseline for everything from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. But at the top, this is where we're really starting to go introduce some new stuff. All right. Now, I talked about this cloud-native governance and how important this is, and I'm going to switch up in that governance and security, but this applies to the entire wheel. Oftentimes, when I'm out and I meet with many of the customers I see, or many of you, I see this notion of how do we actually think we're going to get a level of control inside? And you may hear from out in the industry, like, yes, go bring a piece of software and insert it right in the middle between those developers and the operations teams in that cloud. Put a layer of abstraction. And I tell you, it won't work. We're just going to go around you. I know I, as a dev, was just going to go around it. It's faster for me to just go use the native capabilities. And so our bet, which is different, and our bet, which is a change to how we've talked about it, how other folks have talked about it, is we want this just built in. You want to allow the operations teams and the developer teams to just hit those clouds native. Let it happen. Let that velocity go. Let the agility happen there. And from a central IT or a custodian point of view, you're using the same built-in controls. You just need to put guardrails. You need to ensure that you can put a policy that someone just can't go create the type of machines that you're thinking about. Or you want to be able just to understand that if a change happened in the environment, you're aware of it. And so don't try to be, my view is, and our view is, don't be a choke point, or don't try to implement another shim in between that. Go use the cloud native capabilities. And so this is a different approach as you're thinking about how do you evolve, or how do you start to implement this. And this is something we've built out with our own MSI, with Microsoft IT. We've implemented, they've moved all their infrastructure over to Azure, and they've evolved these roles. And so we're learning directly with them and a few other of our largest companies where we're off working on through some of that. So just know as you're thinking about it, and I start to walk through some of these demos, and I talk about the different access and information, just know this is how we think about the overall flow. So As part of that digital transformation, let's look at one of our customers, Intercontinental Hotels Group, and the transition that they're making.
IHG is one of the world's largest hotel companies. We operate in over 5,000 hotels in 100 countries, and we believe that hotels should be producing an experience that the guests love. One of the challenges we're facing right now is really speed to market. We need to get faster and faster at introducing the technology. Multiple drivers led us to the public cloud. We found that the cloud could provide that agility we needed, it could provide that regional control that we needed, and it provided it at a price point that we couldn't do it ourselves.
We still have a sizable infrastructure on-prem. One of the goals of our transformational journey to the cloud is IHG does not want to be in the hardware business. Our leadership believes in a cloud-first model, and the technology stack that we're using in Azure enable us to do that. Microsoft enabled us to have one world aggregate view of our Active Directory, DNS, and other parts of the infrastructure.
We really like the Azure automation. It's something that we've been able to use to consolidate some of the different scripts and automation that we run in our environment. Azure Security and Analytics has really been a game changer for us, I think. It allows us to get some really great insight into what's going on the systems specifically and in Active Directory. We see who's logging in where.
Bringing in the cloud gives us that visibility that we didn't have before and the speed that we didn't have before. In my mind, it's a total game changer when we start to change that digital world of a guest. And I think that drives the business, that'll drive the top line revenue growth, and that ability to bring those capabilities to the hotel to really change that guest experience.
All right. So let's jump into how I'm going to talk about today. So now I'm ready to start transitioning in. We'll go back and forth between demos. But really, when we think about the strategies for successful management and security in the cloud, I'm going to walk you through these five areas. So this is kind of how I'm going to categorize the conversation, because you can go wildly in different places in this space. So we're first going to start with just like, where do I start with securing? How do I just think about getting the monitoring? We're just going to show you how we get this built in. Then I'm going to talk through compliance and governance and just how we brought in the governance aspect of it with policy. Then for those that are here on the security, my third one, I'm going to dive into the Azure Security Center. Then we'll move our way down. You get the drift, monitoring, and then the policy, right? Okay, so let's talk first about just what we mean by secure and well managed. All right, so I was having a conversation, it was actually on this side of the room, and one of the pieces was, so people are just taking their workloads and they move them to the cloud. But it's my job to help them go understand, this is a service provider in the room, my job is to help them go understand, like, so how do you manage them? How do you make sure to do it? Because just because you toss it in the cloud doesn't mean it's any more managed or any more safe and actually can get a little unwieldy. So when you move things onto Azure, the infrastructure's trusted. We've got that base covered. But the instances, the apps, the things in the VMs, those you need to be managed. And so that's where we start to see us wanting to make sure that it's just dead simple to be able to bring those in. The three areas that we think about when you do that is the first step is just make sure you get them secure. We already have Azure Security Center. It's there, available, baked in. Start leveraging it. Okay? Just start leveraging that core piece. And I'll talk and demo that later on in the security section. The next is just make sure you protect your data. Use backup. Use disaster recovery. Just start with the backup and we'll make it really easy for you to be able to find it and get the things backed up. That way, you're able to leverage it again. We've even seen in June, WannaCry, a lot of the stuff that came in kind of with the ransomware, we used it internally as well as we started to go look and protect our posture. But we had customers that used that backup to go from use backup to protect themselves from that scenario. Okay, and then next, monitor. So one of the things we announced is, in Scott's keynote and some of the press and my blog, we announced PowerShell inside what we call Azure Cloud Shell. The goal for us was really making sure we bring all the customers, bring our PowerShell industry with us, and then monitoring and management and operations right in. So let me just dive in and show you these instead of us talking through. The other big one we talked about is update management. This is now included. Hybrid, whether you want to use it in your on-site AWS clouds or on Azure, it's included. Okay? Don't have to do any other transaction. Okay. All right, so let's go in and I'm going to switch over and start doing some demos. Ready for that? Yeah? Okay. It's like the famous IT thing. Well, let me just check to see if you're plugged in. Okay. So what we have here is the Azure portal. Everyone familiar with this? Okay, this is your core Azure portal. We have a dashboard that you're able to go build, put your own things on top of the dashboard, your own visibility. But when we talk about built-in, I'm going to go over here to the virtual machines. And this is just in your list of virtual machines. So I have quite a few virtual machines in here. I'm just going to do a quick look for my Katoso web. I'm going to pick on this Katoso app quite a bit today. And inside you can see we have a list of Windows and Linux. How many times do I go to customers like yourself and you say, yeah, my Windows team is overlooking at Azure. Your Linux teams and your Linux apps are on Azure as well. And so what we've done, I'm going to focus on this Linux box, what we've done right here is added in operations. It's right here on the VM. Now you can manage it multiple VMs as well, but it's right here on the VM for you to go start to take advantage of these things. Now, we had a conversation of inventory. Someone was mentioning, hey, it's pretty cool that you can actually start to see the inventory. So here's your inventory work. I can go see what's inside the guest. Inside Linux, I'll show you Windows in a bit, but I can see my software, my files, my Linux daemons, everything. We've gone ahead and inventory. You don't have to remote into these boxes. They're already there. It's inside the analytics. So if you want to just get in and query across all that information in your estate, it's there programmatically in the analytics. And if I just go look for Java, it's usually what sits inside when I'm developing on some of that. It's one of the core ones. There it is. I can get down and look at Java, and I can see in this scenario that there is multiple versions of Java and that they changed this morning as I was setting up for the demo. So let's talk about why those have changed. Now, in the past, I may have to go look at a completely different tool set. And this change now allows me to go in and start to go look at the different types of things that are inside, like change, and I could go see, let's go look at the software and see, all right, here's my Java. I can see the change timeframes that have happened across. Why change is important for the operation side is to go through and just help you quickly troubleshoot what's changed in the environment. I don't have to go pick through a bunch of logs. I don't have to go type my own queries. It's just there over time and over time sequence. Why it's important in the compliance side of the house is you need to, a lot of the audit controls are going to want you to be able to say, I can know what's changed in the environment. Seems like a basic thing, but we also pull in a lot of different tools and software to do it. And so we just build this in natively in, and you have the ability to have it connected up here at the top where I zoom in on the manage activity logs. This allows me to have my change be able to go right to the activity log of Azure. Okay? So inside the activity log, it's where where all of our services are writing what's going on, including now you can know what's going on inside the guest. So that's, you're able to, a really powerful step for us on the change side. Now I talk about this included update management. And so inside update management, as we zoom in on update, here I can see all my missing updates inside Azure for Linux or Windows. I can see the updates that I have scheduled. So I can go in and look and schedule and see when this specific VM is being updated. I can go and drive my own piece. But you also don't want to just look at it at one, right? You're going to look at it as your entire estate. So as I go select multiple computers, this now lets me look across my entire estate of what my machines are, whether they're compliant or not. And I can go in and start to schedule these myself. So now I can go in and schedule, I'm just going to call this a JDub patch. I can classify, so I can choose, look, I only want the critical updates right now because my world's on fire and I'm trying to get this done. And I can choose the timing that I want to be able to do it. This is baked right into Azure. You can schedule the timing that you want, your own frequency, and your own maintenance window to ensure that this happens at a certain period of time. There's times we've had a couple of healthcare examples where their patch on Patch Tuesday has to happen in a certain window or we're done, right? We back out right now. And so we implemented that core piece in there. And in the future, we'll go add pre and post tasks for your own customizations, but this is where, from the start, wanting to make sure you've got the kind of the core base in your hands. Now, the other piece we have is you notice there's non-Azure, meaning add non-Azure VMs. This is core. You have the ability to use that Azure view, but also then reach into your on-site or other environments and have a consistent view of your hybrid. This is really important as you start to think about migrating or you're starting to use a little bit of Azure. Remember, I want you to be able to use your new cloud practices, your new cloud processes back on there. And so this is where we're sitting with the update. Now, let's go look real quick at two more pieces in this space. Let's go hit a Windows box just to show you real quick. Same stuff, we treat them the same. Windows, pull down. Let's just go look at change as an example. You're going to see a little bit different. We don't have daemons obviously in Windows, but we do have our registry and our Windows services. So I can monitor what's going on inside the registry Windows servers. This will play out later in our security side as I need to start seeing changes there. Now, disaster recovery. Remember when I talk about this notion of making sure you back up? We're introducing a new preview feature which is centered around disaster recovery. What this does is allows you to go from one region. Right now we're centered in one, but I'm going to go choose down. I'm going to target US East, just as this example. So now I'm able to replicate my machine. I'm able to replicate this VM or this set of VMs into a completely other facility. Any of our regional deployments, you're able to go and make sure that replication is happening. So if something occurs inside your US West, you're able to also quickly fail over to a US East. Now you can use this for your own on-site environments to use us to fail over back and forth, but we had a lot of feedback. We wanted to do this specifically inside Azure. So again, baked in natively in Azure. Now last piece on this is backup. When we think about backup, we wanted to be able to make sure that, let me open up backup here. You want to be able to see inside backup, maybe I already have it open. Yeah, there it is. Great. Inside backup, the create virtual machine mode. So as I go in through the wizard and I create a new virtual machine, we also want to make sure that it's really easy for you to be able to get these backed up. So I just pre-filled out. I need to choose a D series here. I'm going to hit select. And now in our settings, just natively, you're able to go see backup. And I can enable backup right during the create. And we can set up the specific policies we want inside backup. So if I want my own custom policies, I can go ahead and do those, or I can just hit create, and off we go. Okay? So this is our point here, is to really bring in all those core native capabilities that you've been seeing from separate areas or having to go to separate tools, just really getting them baked into your own piece. Then lastly, let's head over here. I talk about PowerShell. Yep, I don't want to save any of those. Cloud Shell. How many people are using PowerShell in the environment? Aha. So our goal last year was to set out to take PowerShell and bring it to the cloud. A full cloud command line centered on a language that you're familiar with. So right here, we're going to click up here in the command prompt. It's going to switch me to PowerShell. I've already loaded this with a little bigger font because we're going to get into a little more depth here. This is right in line. So you can go right from the portal and start to go manage PowerShell yourself directly. So let's just navigate this a little bit just so you can kind of see how my environment sits. Now, sitting over the web, we're querying that environment. I can see all the different subscriptions. Let's CD into Contoso. Like I said, I'm going to pick on those Contosos quite a bit. I can dir this. These are all just core functions of PowerShell that are sitting right inside. I could see programmatically all my resources, my resource groups, my virtual machines. Let's CD into virt machines. All right, let's do another dir on that. Okay, see how many we have in this environment. Okay, I don't have to do this. Is right from within the UI. Querying. We're going to have quite a few machines. If you remember, we were querying them on the other view. Yep. Let's look by location. Okay, so here's my regions that we were talking about before. All right, the core that I'm trying to show you here is we've taken all the key, let's just look at how many we have, commands we've ported over. 3,449 commands we've ported over so far. If I just hit, we wanted to make sure that we had very simple commands that are available for you, already ported. So all those commandlets are already built in. It's as simple as you saw some of them. You saw with Corey on the keynote. It's a simple start and stop. It's a simple create VM. We've already got all those commandlets built in. So if your teams and yourself are ready and continue to use PowerShell, we've got that baked in. All right, so that's your PowerShell demo. Thank you, PowerShell crew, for bringing that all over. Okay, applying governance and compliance. So the core for governance and for the cloud, we've really centered this on policy-based management. Who's using ARM? Azure Resource Manager and the JSON? Okay, great. How easy? Who has an easy way to manage all their JSON and the policies that they've put in place? Okay. We know as we built this overall policy, this has been one of the core focuses is how do we help you manage the policies across JSON and ARM. Everything we've built is based off of Azure Resource Manager. The teams are working closely together to bring that all under. What that does is it allows us to enforce policy and have that policy across everything that's native inside Azure. We've also done cost management. When we think about governance for the cloud, we also have done cost management. How do you think about bringing on your overall costs? And I'll talk about those a bit later. But we think this is core and why we did we brought in as a partner and then acquisition of CloudIn. So now you have CloudIn available for all Azure customers, direct NEA, free as well. So you can use all your cost optimizations. And the reason we're focusing so much on policy and cost and this level of governance is we want to ensure that you have a level of trust in those resources in the cloud. Right? It's okay. We really want to make sure we have that level of view. So let's dive in. Okay, so I've already announced the Azure policy. It's in limited preview. You can go out onto the site, go to the azure.com and sign up. You'll see, just look for policy, you'll sign up. And let's do a quick demo of it. All right, I need a drink. So, this is Azure policy. Azure policy, if you think about this at a high level view, gives you really kind of core areas that I'll zoom in on for you. There's policies, and then there's a notion of initiative. All of us have a pretty good view of what policy is. We've been trying to manage these for quite a while. How do I institute a policy across some operating environment? Okay? As we were working with MSIT, a few of our large customers that we were being hands-on with, we realized, just like we do at Microsoft, we get caught in these things called initiatives. We have new initiatives, they come up quite a bit, and what's the initiative? And it needs to have multiple policies. And so instead of having just policy all over the place, we added an extra layer called initiatives. So you can track initiatives with multiple policies. One of the policy initiatives that we have inside here is express route subscriptions. Meaning I want to make sure that all of my security for express routes is these machines that I now have connected up in my environment back on site don't have public IPs exposed. So here's a quick view of, if I just kind of scan, I can see all my initiatives that are part of that, and one of them, my public IP addresses, is not compliant. Now again, this is all baked on ARM and JSON. How they do their overall definitions. So if I just go, I can look at my policies and the non-compliant resources. This is baked into Azure. Right here, I've just selected that, and I can see these are the 50 non-compliant resources that I need to get after on this initiative. Okay, so if all of a sudden you realize, man, we've got a configuration that's out there, I could create a new initiative, add a bunch of policies, and quickly go in and just audit this world. And so when we look at it, we give you a variety of different approaches for how we want to do the effect type. You can deny, or you can audit. And in this one, we're just auditing. And one of the reasons for that is you want to, as you start to go put policy in place, the feedback and the way we did it in our own MSIT is start the policy, put it in an audit mode, so you can just see what's going on in the environment, right? Just start to go think about it and bring in and have the reporting and go work through the teams. Then you choose segments to start to go enforce. We even as we were headed into Ignite, there were multiple times from the team where all of a sudden we had an enforced policy, and you should see the teams all scrambling. It definitely worked, but it shut down the ability to go create and rebuild machines as we're headed even into Ignite for my teams. And so it worked really well, but this is why we do those step functions and as you think through it. Okay, so let's go look at that JSON, just a view definition. And it's just very simple as we go through. Just a very simple, I'm going to look at my public address, any of those that are playing in ARM JSON, this is all it is, and we're doing an effect on audit. Okay, so that's your policy piece, and then you can easily just go create your own. I'll just show those real quick. Definitions, go play with it, sign up, go play with it. And I could create my own policies, my own definitions. We have them built in. Like we're working with you, we're working with teams, we know we want to just audit VMs that aren't using managed disks. We may want to make sure that you're having unencrypted VMs. I want to be flagged on those. Or a simple one is just enforcing tags. Right? You guys are all using tags to be able to classify your machines, but how many times do they get created and then you don't have any tags? And so this is a core where we want to make sure that we're enforcing policy on that. And you could build your own. You can build your own policy definition, or you can use some of ours that are pre-built. So that's policy. Let's move to security. Sound good? Keeping you awake yet? Deep stuff, I know. Okay. So let's dive over to the next set. Let's talk about our security. So, for those that are thinking about how does security and what are we doing from the security perspective, I'm going to go spend about a 5-minute walk through in the security piece. The core for us is, again, you heard me say, it's everybody's challenge, everybody's problem. We want to make sure that security is in the hands of everyone and making sure that content and data is available. And so here with security, we're giving you unified visibility across the entire security spectrum. And we also have an immense amount of adaptive learning inside this. We have a ton of threats that are coming at Microsoft all the time. We have our own security teams that we are seeing the threats from, and we're learning from, and we're working with you as you have threats, and we bring all of that into we bring that lessons from our own environments and then bring it back through you. And so this is one of the core areas as we learn and start to use these as our own threat solutions. And so the things we announced were now Azure Security Center and the OMS capabilities come together. So Azure Security Center is fully hybrid. You could do this on your on-site environments as well as Azure. So it's fully baked in. We have this notion called adaptive whitelisting. This allows, and I'll show you how that works. It's really about understanding and learning so that you can have a whitelist only the apps you want. And then interactive investigation mapping. So let's show these. Okay, so Azure Security Center. So Azure Security Center gives me an overall view of the entire environment of my security posture. I can see all the different components. I've got everything from looking at my security solutions, compute, network, storage. I've got a whole bunch of different capabilities centered around security. Just to give you kind of a preview of that, as we go look across the environment, we can scan and just give you pre-built recommendations. This is the piece, like, who wouldn't use this? This just gives you the recommendations that we're already seeing from all of our customers and all of our environments that we know. And we can even tell you, like, hey, we already see from Microsoft, we see a few vulnerabilities you may want to remediate. And so we're just, based off of this core of this information, we'll be able to give you the intelligence to say, hey, here's the things that we see and you should go remediate. Now, if I go back to the overview, who knows, who saw, so there's other elements we've implemented. Just-in-time VM access. Who saw the just-in-time VM stuff yesterday? Okay, so only a few of the hands. I'm going to go ahead and cover it just lightly. Just-in-time access allows us to come into the product. We will go right inside just-in-time. What this does is it allows us to see what ports are open on machines. And what you want to do is reduce your attack surface. You don't want all these ports open. You don't want administrators always sitting on these machines. That's how they start to move lateral. That's how they come and start to attack those ports. And so what we've implemented, and many of you have started to implement this or have them in your larger companies, is just-in-time access. But we've baked it in native so that you can come in and choose which ports you want open or not. For example, we'll do a recommendation that says, all right, let's look at this Contoso web VM. And I can choose to enable JIT on one of these VMs. And it allows me to choose which ports that I want to be able to make approvals only for. Now, what happens is an operations or a dev that wants to go manage those ports is now I go request approval. We automatically give it to them. They give a time bomb for how long they can have access. The port is open, they can administrate during it, and then it closes. It's not, it doesn't get in the way of the velocity of the operation of the developer. It logs the change in the activity, so then you can monitor if you see one that you didn't approve through your change system. Okay, so that's a core piece inside it. The other one is adaptive application controls. Now this is pretty cool. Adaptive application control sits and over time will monitor how your applications are, what's known. Right? We always talk about, well, we know the configuration of our app. And for those that were able to get ahead on the CI/CD and get the configurations in the pipeline, or we have desired state config and we've monitored that, that's good. We need to continue to do that. But we also wanted, there's how many times do we have apps that are just out there and we're not quite sure what's going. And so from the security perspective, we wanted you to be able to turn on and monitor what the processes and typical elements inside the app. So if I just go look at recommended, and we just go look at Contoso automation, just the fastest one on the top here. What we've done is we've scanned, here's all the virtual machines as their groups. Here's the virtual machines and the processes that are typically running on them. Now I can go flag this as a configuration that then our Azure Security Center will continue to monitor. And what that allows me to do now is to go audit any changes if a new payload comes on one of those boxes. And I haven't already set up desired state config and the other elements. We have it multiple places. Then you're able to just jump right in and use that. And so this is able to flag and then give you a security alert that a new payload is dropped in on that box. And you can also then correlate it if you've seen any changes. You can correlate it back to your change systems. It's how you want to go implement. We're just really putting it into the base. Okay, let's get into the, I know I'm moving fast on some of this, but we've got a lot to demo. All right, so then let's go look at alerts. So we're able to take security alerts and look at all the different alerts that are coming in across the environment. And we're able to group alerts together. So we can see here's a set of alerts that we think are all related to a security incident. And we were able to do this for the past 6 months to a year. But we just introduced a new level of investigation. Now, typically, we get all this information and it's running in, and behind the scenes, I get often asked, what's using all this information? And it's all our core analytics engine. But your teams typically have to go through multiple security systems, multiple SIEMs as they're looking through those tools. They're groveling through their logs. They're really trying to go play what the heck just happened and how long that investigation, what's going on in that investigation. And so this is where we put a visual view over the top of all of this data so that we can string together that view for you. This is something our teams inside Microsoft have been building as we went through and did as our own investigations. And we always wanted this really, what we called the security graph and a visual way to go look through that graph. So who saw this demo yesterday? Okay? Still, so I'm going to, for those that have saw it, I'm going to just do a run because there's a lot that hadn't, and I think it's pretty powerful here. So I see a security incident, and I see it's already identified that brute force. Okay, this is all in the data that sits inside your systems. You just have always been on an Easter egg hunt looking for it. So as I go click on this security, it's already saying, okay, here's a brute force that occurred on this machine with these specific other actions on side. Now yesterday we talked about Abby. So if we go choose Abby, we'll see what went on through that account. Going on inside Azure and or hybrid, by the way. This isn't only just in Azure. You can use this hybrid. So you can see across the top we have the security incident. Jeremy selected the RDP brute force that was occurring, and we already knew yesterday Abby was giving us some issues with that account. So let's just go right in and look at Abby. And Abby now I can see inside that Abby is not only executed a suspicious process that, by the way, we didn't have flagged over in the application whitelisting, or we could have had it flagged for us, or desired state config within automation, we could have flagged it there. So we give different traps. She's also signing in from an unfamiliar location. We've tied in with the Active Directory. So we know we've got an issue inside that, and all of this information, that security graph, is really powered by this platform centered on analytics. Okay, so let's go look at that next view. So if I go just choose Contosa Web, like I said, I'm going to pick on this Contosa Web machine quite a bit. We have this notion to be able to go do exploration. Now here's where you typically, from the security crews, they want to start to go understand and be able to grovel through all the data. And so we can see we've already done a first step for this where we're now querying across this information. But backed behind it is our analytics. So Azure Log Analytics is the core platform behind this. This is the same analytics that's used by all of our management capabilities. It's also the same that's used for all the monitoring capabilities. There is no siloing of the tool sets. It really is the same technology together. So if I'm on the IT side and I see something going on, bam, I can start querying, am I missing any updates? Am I looking for that information? If I'm on the security side and I have a whole bunch of advanced advanced controls that I'm looking for, often you're using other solutions like this today. We've got it completely tied in, delivered from the web. You don't even have to manage the stuff. You just have to be able to get your data in it. Again, hybrid. So here you're seeing log search bring in. I'm able to query directly quick in, and I'm able to just start to really look at time frames, look at my top events, and I can grovel through. So OMS customer, OMS guys and gals, this was kind of that core log search that we've built in. But last year, there was a lot of feedback that I needed much more advanced analytics. I needed a whole nother level. Just the simple search isn't cutting it for me. So advanced analytics is the next thing we're in public preview right now. And so if you choose this advanced analytics, I'm going to skip over loading that up, but I'm going to skip one preloaded. Now I have a full-on web-based analytics with full-on complex query language that allows you to have whatever you need to go do throughout. We've got all the training material on how to use the query language throughout. It allows you to go build your own queries through it. We're in the middle of public preview. We'll have this fully rolled out across the entire infrastructure by December. We expect December. So if you just look, like show me where my systems, show me the specific non-system processes and running across my data center. Okay, a lot of words, a lot of query. I can easily just go in and query that information and start to go look across. Okay? This is that piece for all of our security crews that want to be able to have their own analytics to drill in, and we can quickly go in and look at it. I can save my queries like, geesh, did anyone clear my logs? I hope this doesn't happen, right? We don't want our logs cleared quite yet. And no results, good. So it's still active. They haven't got a hold of me on clearing my logs yet. And off we can go look for non-system processes. We can just build whatever queries you want across that environment. And so that's a core element. If we just look at some of the open save searches, here's all the queries in my security account that's already pre-built. But you can build your own in a much more advanced way. So that is the Azure Security Center and all the core capabilities inside it. There's a ton in there, a ton of investigation work for you, and pretty powerful. What do you think? Yeah? All right. There was a bet how much energy I'd have. I'm going to be fine, I think. You guys tell me that, I guess. Okay, get integrated data, analytics, and monitoring. So remember, we just talked about all the security and all that core analytics. So when I think about monitoring, how do I view the health and the diagnostics inside my system? So this is really integrated. When we think about it, we have to have the dev and the IT, the data integrated. I need this full spectrum. I want to start from the app and understand deep what's going in the app. And that's what we have as our application insights. We also want to start to get visibility into the network. I need to be able to see what's going on. And the cloud gives us this great opportunity with Azure because I know what's going on inside the network. But we can also start to go do route tracing and look at the different links and how that's performing. And then we need the infrastructure. So let me dive in and just give you kind of a quick demo of what we're doing on monitoring and diagnostics. The things we announced so far is the new application insights. So I'm going to go show you this. We've got a new capability, much more streamlined experience, and a lot deeper telemetry that you're able to go look at in the app insights. I just showed you the log analytics. We'll do another view of that centered around the monitoring, and we'll look at how we can integrate into some of the alert systems. All right, so let's go demo Azure Monitor. Okay, so first, on the dashboard, again, you can pin, and we see a lot of people using this for the monitoring aspects. I'm just going to pin the views that I care about, and I can see it right there. And so this is an area we will continue to invest in heavily, is the dashboarding, to help really enforce this dashboarding element for you, because I know we hear loud and clear, like, I want to use this, my management wants to use this, I want to see a much more better dashboard in here. So we will continue to invest in the dashboard side. When we go to Azure Monitor, so we launched this last year at Ignite. It was our first view to really give you an end-to-end view inside of what's going on inside Azure. And we've added more to this, and we will continue to create this as the hub for all of things monitoring. As we build tools and widgets to give you better visibility, or storage builds their elements of what we want to do to help get better, finer granularity into storage, those elements will start to just show up inside Azure Monitor. So Azure Monitor really does become that place for your end-to-end view and your end-to-end hub for monitoring all up. Okay? And so inside you can see I've got my alerts, my metrics. These are the same metrics that you saw as I moved over to the VM, but at a subscription and Azure wide view. That activity log, my service health, and then these solutions that start to get that spectrum. And application insights is one of those, as you're really trying to go look deep inside the app and understand what's going in your app. That's what application insights really tailored for. So in here, I can see the alerts that are occurring inside my environment. And I can also go in and see those apps that I care about right from within view. I don't have to go search and peck around. It's just in the center of Azure Monitor. And so Contoso Retail Web, like I said, we're going to focus on this Contoso app. And so I've been starting to experience an issue with some of those alerts I saw with the Contoso app. And so as I go start to look at Contoso, this is Application Insights. We've got a new experience. You're seeing the banner, just pop that up. I can start to see, man, look at these spikes that just occurred. So let's dive in and go look at what's going on with performance. And this new performance view, this is the core piece that we did for Ignite, is bringing all this performance together. Now, let's not look at 24 hours. Let's just, since we've got the data, the big analytics behind us, let's go look at the whole 30 days, just to really go look at this view. And so I can zoom in here and show you, like, we've got the overall operations. I know where my performance is. I could see the specific, my home page, my customer page, my other elements of the app. But that analytics behind gives us the opportunity to have machine learning, or what we'll call smart insights, to really go pinpoint any deviations from the information we saw. So we're already telling you right out of the gate in that one view, hey, we think Get Home has an issue. Now, when we look at Get Home, and I just drill in and go find it, we also start to go plot across the different 99th percentiles, where your transactions are actually falling, so you can start to see, like, this is actually good over here, but what's happening right here in this 9 seconds? Why is it so delayed and we're seeing a spike? So I now can have the app start to go take samples, it's already there, and we can go query to see, do I have a problem here? So now we're going to dive in at the app side. I get my zoom a little bit and we can see, all right, so I have a response time that's not where I want it, 12 seconds. I don't want my home page at 12 seconds. Yet it didn't fail. It's not a 500. It didn't fail. It didn't get any 404s. It's a 200. Now, I know from running in Hotmail, there was a time when we actually saw, like, our front-end mail, our inbound mail machines just getting hammered. And the process is all slowed down, and we spent hours troubleshooting that front end. When actually the problem was somewhere completely different. It was down in my storage. It had downshifted, the drives had downshifted, and so I couldn't get the actual right throughput, but we spent all our time up in that front. And so this is useful to tell me, like, look, it's successful, it's working, but how do I understand those dependencies that come across? And so when we look at we've got to start to kind of work our way down that spectrum. And so I can pin this back to my dashboard and come back to that performance piece if I need to. So it's right there pinned on my dashboard. I don't have to go search through it. But I can also then start to go look through my other dependencies. And so when I look at dependencies, this dependency is a really important aspect. And so last year, as we started to bring in a company by Blue Stripe that had discovery, application discovery and dependencies, super powerful piece that allows us to start to see how everything's dependent. And it also overloads the different data sources that are sitting inside. And so as I choose that Contoso Web, now it gives me a whole dependency view of what's actually occurring. Every process that's running on that machine and what it's dependent to. So I know I've got 36 clients. It's pretty small in here, but I've got 36 clients that are connecting. And I know I've got a back-end machine. And in my scenario, when we start to talk about that back-end machine, you can see I actually have a problem downstream. So I know it helps me go and do the investigations quickly and start to drill in on that. Now, if I just take a step and look at alerts, what this also does, remember this graph, I've got all this security information, I've got all this update information and change information. How do I start to make this into one view? And so this is where I'm able to go select a machine, Contoso, and out comes the core elements that we're seeing here, centered on all the information inside that environment that we know about the machine. So, for example, here's all my alerts. Bam. Those same alerts I saw in Azure Monitor are right here. If I wanted to see that performance data, boom. I can see the performance stuff right inside inline. If I wanted to see if I had patches, updates, what have you, we can still have all that information in there. What's changed in the environment since? Someone's modified that web config file on this machine as well. So what's Abby been up to in here? She's now not only having me a security issue, but on the IT or the ops side, she's causing my reliability issues. So I need to really see that tie back and forth together. Okay, so let's go in and look at alerts. I can go into my alerts, and behind my alerts is I can sign right back into log search. And again, just like you saw with security and the power of analytics for security, you have that same power sitting for your monitoring. And so as I switch over and go back to advanced analytics, same deal. I can save a whole bunch of advanced capability, a whole bunch of queries, and I can see like, all right, did I have how many requests are taking too long? So we can query and start to go look to see if I have requests that are starting to take too long elsewhere in the environment. Okay, so that get home index is there. Knew that. Am I meeting my SLA, right? Why we're in the middle of this security issue? It's like, looks okay, but it's pretty choppy. And is there any spikes that start to come in? And here behind the scenes is where we start to bring in the smart analytics. How did we know to do those insights back in the security? How did we know to do the insights and give you insights to get home? And so we have a team of data scientists that are doing the adding artificial intelligence to our analytics, just baked in, that start to go look and learn these deviances. Right? I can tell you, same piece for security application whitelisting. We are baking artificial intelligence inside our management and security capabilities. Now we're down in the kind of the engine of the analytics, but what this does is it shows me right here that I've identified, or the machine has identified for you, that this is a discrepant pattern right at this point. Oh, was it diagnostic helpful? Team? Yeah, it was. I'll send some feedback to them. So yeah, this is where our core smart, we call them the smarts team, is off really working and adding this core capability into right inside our analytics. All right, let's go back to Service Map. There was one other piece I wanted to show you. I get a lot of questions about, hey, how do I connect to my existing system? I see these alerts. How do I connect to something like, is it in here? Yes. Okay, good. Sometimes I go off script a bit. But in the room I had a question on Service Desk. How do I connect to ServiceNow? I'm using ServiceNow. I want to be able to have these routed here. So you can see we have a module that allows you to connect to your service desk. So as you see alerts inside Azure, you can kick it and forward it with a webhook to a PagerDuty, or you can already have it integrated to kick it straight to a ServiceNow, so that you can still go in and manage and understand the change and the alerts and everything you need, but you can still route that stuff up to the help desk or the service desk and see what's coming back and forth from them. So we have it integrated in through the module of a service desk module, but we also will start to add ServiceNow into the alert actions. So you'll be able to have ServiceNow integrated just natively in. For those that are, and the reason the question came up was, I'm starting to move, I already have my existing processes and tools, how do I use these new modern ways but to plug in? So that's monitoring. Yeah? Oh, you guys are one section left, and I think we'll get you out of here in time. It's migration. So the short of it on migration, just take me a quick minute. So migration workloads to the cloud. I hear many of you are just starting that whole migration, and migration is something that happens continuously. You need to go discover what's inside your environment, and you need to go see and then start to migrate and optimize. So we have a set of partners that will help us with this, and so we've got a few that are like TSO Logic and Cloudimize are two partners that, or a handful of partners, so those are two we're really working with. But we also have a new announcement for the Azure migration just built. Let me show you that real quick. Okay, so if I just do a quick search, by the way, we added a new capability in here. Oh, yep, sorry. Okay, so the Azure migration, they've already upgraded my upspace. Let me reboot this. Yeah, I thought it was for migrate. Okay, so we'll be able to, within our Azure Migrate, I'm able to come in and start to go discover all the applications that are inside, so I can go discover, and we're able to built in through the Azure portal. And we can take these machines and group them and bring them together. But then what we're also able to do is give you an assessment right out of the gate for readiness. So as I go through and select the readiness of these apps, so imagine, we've already discovered, we understand the dependencies, we've grouped them, built in, we'll be able to then also just tell you which apps we think are ready. And so in this Contoso payroll, I have 4 apps inside. We'll be able to tell you which apps are there, which ones we think are ready, and you'll see in the center, we're able to choose what suggested tools are available for you to use these. So we know we already have the Azure database migration available. We've got Azure Site Recovery as a way to help failover. And we also will have this extensible, so for our partners, where we think it best makes sense with the partners, we'll be able to suggest you to go that way. And our whole goal for you is to really bring in that Azure, help you be able to do it natively within Azure, because you know it's going to be continuous, and you know you're going to be picking certain, it's going to be over time. You'll be able to create your own projects, and then be able to watch them as they move over in chunks. And so there's we have a whole session on this, so please sign up for it. And what else would I say? Besides, go take a look at it. Limited preview now, so you can go sign up for it today. Last few pieces before we wrap up. I'm trying to keep you on time. Cost management by CloudIn is free. This is really to help you go optimize all your budgeting, forecasting, who's spending where. So this is core to that. I'm going to skip this. When you think about our future innovations of where we're headed, we'll go spend time on continuing with what we've started here on the core, but we'll also start to go look at how do we handle management at scale? How do I handle multiple organizations? How do I think about enabling that DevOps and those new notions like containers? More at Ignite. We have a meetup. So the teams have multiple meetings where they're having meetups. There's an opportunity to do a meetup with me, I guess. So go ahead, AKS Jeremy Meetup. There's a few spots still available if you want to be able to come into it. We left a few just for the session for you to be able to come in and get that. And then also go through and think about, we're doing an investigation on subscription management, how you manage your subscriptions. Sessions-wise, there's 25 breakouts. It's an eye chart, I'm sure. 25 breakouts for you to be able to go in and focus on. And so please take the time and go learn more with the teams. And I just appreciate all of your 9 a.m. and all the demos, and I appreciate your time. So thank you so much, and have a great day.